Hey, this is Mr. Young, and I am going to take you through the blood spatter interactive animations from the National Forensic Science Technology Center. All right, we've got three tabs up here. I'm going to take you through these three sections. I'm going to read some of the things to you. Some of the things you're going to have to hit pause and read on your own. Tab 1 is Droplet Flight Dynamics. Blood exposed from an open wound or present in sufficient volume on an object, such as this knife, will be pulled to the lowest point on its source surface. As the droplet increases in volume, the forces of gravity will eventually overcome the combination of the droplet's surface tension and its adhesive force to the object, and the gravity will pull the droplet away from the object's surface and towards the ground. This drop can also be affected by inertial forces as the weapon is swung, but in the simplest scenario, gravity pulling down and surface tension holding on play the greatest role. So gravity is pulling down, surface tension is holding the blood drop onto the knife. As gravity causes more and more blood to flow to the collection point, the opposing forces of surface tension and gravity will cause the blood to be retained in what is called a passive drop. This is a passive drop right here. Eventually, enough blood will have flowed into the passive drop that its weight will allow gravity to overcome the surface tension and pull the drop away from the object. As the blood droplet pulls away from the object, the surface tension of the droplet will cause the teardrop shape that it forms to retract back in towards the center of the droplets. This snapback force starts the droplet oscillating between spheroid and spheroid oblong. As the droplet's surface tension evens out across its entire surface, the oscillation decays and the drop takes on a perfectly spherical shape. Basically, as a droplet falls through the air, it turns into a perfect sphere. Hit pause if you would like to read the information about air friction and the downward force of gravity. Hit pause if you would like to read more about terminal velocity and force from gravity and the friction of the air. Okay, tab 2 is the 4 phases of impact. Regardless of the surface onto which a blood droplet is falling, the angle or velocity at which it does so, or the volume of the droplet, there are 4 distinct phases involved in the reaction of a moving droplet with impact against a surface. Those are discussed here. I'm going to click through them, and you can hit pause to read about each phase. Contract and collapse, phase 1. Hit pause. Displacement, phase 2. Hit pause. Dispersion, phase 3. Hit pause. Retraction, phase 4. Hit pause. Here we go through all 4 phases. Contract and collapse, displacement, dispersion, retraction. Contact and collapse, displacement, dispersion, retraction. Contact and collapse, displacement, dispersion, retraction. All right, now we're on tab 3, angle of impact. When blood droplets strike a surface from a 90-degree angle, the resulting stain will be basically circular. There will be no long or short axes, and the spines, scallops, and satellites will occur moderately evenly all the way around. Very little difference will be discernible between drops that impact anywhere between 90 and 75 degrees. I'm going to click on 70 degrees. Now the blood droplet is coming from the upper right towards the lower left. Basically, it's going in a southwest direction on screen. You can see that the spatter or the satellite spines are a little longer on the side away from where it hits. The momentum carries those spines forward. I'm going to click on 60 degrees. At 60 degrees, you can see the blood droplet gets more and more stretched out. Those spines and satellite spatter become more extreme on the side away from where it hits. I'm going to click on 45 degrees. As we get to a more and more extreme angle, a smaller angle with the surface, You can see that we get spines coming off of the blood droplet. The spines point in the direction of motion. And we get to an extreme angle of 25 degrees, very close to horizontal, very close to parallel with the surface. We get that distinctive exclamation point stain. And again, the spine points in the direction that the droplet is moving. Okay, that's it.